Welcome to Rooted and Rising, where we focus on becoming whole through the mind, body, and spirit. I'm Lamisa Caradine, and this is the holiday special. In this episode, we're replaying all my favorite moments from past episodes. So grab a snack, sit back, relax, and let these moments empower your wellness journey. So,
Good.
how do you recommend I approach credit differently in the 6 to 12 months before a major loan application versus doing wealth building years?
Okay. So if you and to answer your question, how do you approach credit in the 6 to 12 years before a major loan application? Okay. So, let's use one example. You're going to be purchasing a home. You want to get credit worthy to purchase a home. So, in any loan, mortgage broker, or anyone is going to tell you the same thing. So, in my experience, you don't want to generate any additional debt. You want to work on your current debt, getting those bills paid down so that you could, because when you're applying for most major credit purchases, they're looking at your debt to income. So you want to get that debt down so that when they look at it and they do that analysis, you could be able to have more, meaning you'll be able to purchase a bigger home or be able to be competitive in the market. So you're not gonna apply for any new credit because you don't want to add anything to it because, like, again, they're looking at your debt to income ratio. You don't want anybody doing any hard pulls on your credit, going in trying to offer you anything. Some people might offer you something that sounds good, but if you're trying to make a major purchase, then that is not something that you want to look into. Lenders don't like it when you're looking and seeking credit because it looks like that you might be a risk a little down the line. So, and what was the other part? Oh, wealth building. Okay. So, that's wealth building really occurs as you know later in life. It really does. You're able to build your wealth later in life because initially you got children, family, mortgages, and you have a lot of credit, a lot of things going on. Life, what they say, life be lifing, right? So things are going on. So in the latter part is when people really look at wealth building, and those are the times that when you're doing your wealth building, you want to increase your assets, and you want to do more saving and looking at more things, investing and things of that nature to increase your wealth as you get. And some people start early. Some people can start early if they're disciplined enough. But I find with talking to my clients and individuals, that wealth building starts a little later in life. Now, that's not to say that you can't create savings along the way, because you got to have something. You got to create a savings for that rainy day, no matter what time, where you are in the span of your life. But when you want, again, in the early stages, if you want to make major purchases, then kind of pull back because you don't want to create more debt. You want to put yourself in a better financial position. And then what I find is once you put yourself in a better financial position as you're doing the things that I recommend to my clients, in actuality, you are building wealth, or you're definitely getting yourself in a position to increase your wealth.
What are the first steps in unforgiveness when you really feel wronged by someone?
The first step is to forgive you. You got to forgive you first. And what does that mean? That means that you haven't forgiven you for not forgiving them. It sounds like double talk, but that's the process. You have to say, okay, all these years I haven't forgiven so and so. I haven't forgiven him or her. I have not. So all these years I've done this. I need to forgive myself for hanging on to that long. You got to forgive you first. And then that way God will clear the way for you to forgive the other individual.
What led you to write a book with such an emotional, provoking title?
It's because even though my characters are fictional names, because I can't write if I didn't experience it. I'm not one of those how do you say it, professional writers that can just sit down one day and say, okay, I'm going to write about, no, I got to feel it in here. And I know when it's time for me to write because he'll push my head like this. And I said, oh no, I thought I was through. And the title come from my mother, God rest her soul, always said, I'm always right. I'm always right. No, you can't question me. You can't blame me. You can't blame anything on me because I'm always right. So it came to me, well, Mama ain't always right. You're not always right.
What if wellness wasn't just about your body, but about your whole life feeling good? The 2026 Wellness Powered by You digital planner is designed to empower every part of you with weekly insight, questions that guide your inner growth, and reflection space to help you honor your journey. True wellness means a calm environment too. In your new 2026 planner, you'll find quarterly prompts for closet clean out, home deep cleans, and car maintenance checklists to keep your space as clear as your mind. This is Wellness Powered by You. Be organized, be intentional, and leave 2026 a different person than you entered. Get your 2026 planner now at the link below. What is the most common mindset issue that you run into?
I would probably say just all or nothing thinking, which is why, again, I say I help female perfectionists, because female perfectionists are usually like, I'm either on track, I'm doing everything, I'm doing 10,000 steps a day, I'm going to the gym every day, I'm on program. And the first time I mess up, now I got to start over. All or nothing. So there's like no in between, feeling like they're failing. That's probably the biggest one. Another one is just being really self-critical. Self-trust is very important when you're trying to build a new identity and work on your weight loss. And if you don't trust yourself with your health habits, you probably won't execute them very often. But also self-compassion is very closely tied to that, because when you are making mistakes, or if maybe you do overeat, beating yourself up instead of lifting yourself up, number one, is a choice, but also beating yourself up doesn't help you to recover. And I think too, most of my clients are Black women, and we understand how to be hard on ourselves. Like, we get that. But it's like, oh, self-compassion actually would help you to make better progress and not hurt your self-esteem, instead of being mean to yourself and being like, dang, why did I do that? Instead saying, why am I doing that? Right? And like getting curious. Instead of beating yourself, get curious. Why does this keep happening? And I promise you, you'll find so many more answers that you can actually workshop the problem and then make progress, instead of just saying, I just need to do better. That's just like such a dead end sentence. It doesn't allow your brain to explore or workshop what's wrong. And then you keep doing that over and over again, and then that kind of dings your self-esteem a little bit.
How do you spot the difference between a client who's unmotivated versus one who's burnt out or dealing with deeper resistance?
The difference is a client who just unmotivated it's hard to even get them out the house. You know, once you get them there, they'll do it, but they're gonna do a lot of complaining. A client that's burnt out, they're gonna come out there, they're gonna do it, but they'll let you know that they're just tired of doing the same thing over and over. So what you do with them is you change up the exercises. Once you change the exercise up and they're ready to go, it don't take long for a client that's just unmotivated to get back motivated once they're out there. But a client that's just burnt out, it'll take a little more work for them, because like, okay, I done did this, I done did everything, now I need the extra push. So the difference is like the techniques and the way that you approach. The way I approach them, the way that I approach each one of them is gonna let me know where they're at on the level as far as being burnt out or motivated. Or unmotivated, I'm sorry.
Do you have a strategy for helping someone rebuild confidence and self-trust after years of failed fitness attempts?
My thing is talking to them, pushing them, telling them to look at themselves. I always tell people, look at yourself in the mirror. And then I always ask them, what do you see here, and what do you see yourself in the future? And I always ask because when I started working out, my trainer asked me, he said, he showed me a book. He said, how do you want to look? It was some lady. I said, I don't want to look like neither one of them. I want to look like me. So he's like, okay, well, how do you see yourself looking in 5 years? I said, well, I see myself, this, I gave him a description. And I felt like in 5 years I made that because instead of me looking at somebody in the magazine was unrealistic, I look at myself in the mirror. So for them, I tell them, get in front of the mirror, tell me what you see, and tell me what do you want to see in a couple of years from now. What do you want to see from 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and then maybe 5 years from now. So once we get that, if they start working out, they say, okay, hey, my arms going down, my legs getting bigger, my butt getting bigger.
What can you say to them to shift their mindset?
My thing is, first of all, I feel like that fitness is for whoever wants it. So if a person feel like that fitness is not for them, it's either I don't know if it's really a feeling or if it's something that they feel like that they can't do. Because when you say fitness as a whole, it's just not an exercise. Fitness is, being mentally fit and being fitness all over. So it's like a word, just a general word. So you said fitness not for me. That means you saying to me that I don't care. But I think a lot of people just say that as a cop out. So what I do is I say, okay, you said fitness not for you. What is for you? It's living for you. It's being healthy for you. So I just really just talk to them like that to make them see it from my perspective.
What inspired you to make a children's book? What?
Right. You know what? I was thinking, first of all, I see a lot of people doing children's book, and I said, wow, that must be something there. So, but anyway, and I am so glad that I wrote Money Doesn't Grow on Trees. I get so much positive feedback, and I think because when we talk about breaking cycles, building legacies, I think children, it has to start younger because, children are so smart and, because of electronics and they can figure it out. So I said, let's just help them start early. And they love my grandchildren. I have three grandboys. They love money. I've actually started savings accounts for them. And so they'll say like, Grandma, how much money do I have? And so, funny story, my oldest grandson had broken something with his father. And his father said, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for this with your money. And he got so sad. He was near tears because he didn't want to spend his money. So, that kind of helped me think, kids.
Yeah.
So, and then with the book, I thought parents would read it with the children. And so even parents will be able to realize too that they too can save money if they're not, and then they can help the children save money because it should start younger now.
Yeah.
And it's not real complicated. It's all about taking that tooth fairy Christmas money, birthday money, putting it in the bank and watching it grow because listen, it's been out there for years. It's just taken us a while to really jump on that bandwagon.
Yes. What age group should they start, teaching their children about healthy money habits?
Oh my gracious. I would say well, they know about money at at an early age. My grandson is 3, so get him a piggy. I know 2 or 3. Get them a piggy bank and put their money in a piggy bank, and don't make it so all consumed. Make it fun. Make
Yeah.
it fun, and just show them save your money. We got this money, and sit down and have those conversations. Have those conversations so that kids will learn. So I think early age is good. I think they're inquisitive and they understand. They really do.
You deserve a break, and we have the answer. It's the Feed Your Soul Wellness Retreat in Hot Springs, Arkansas, April 29th through May 3rd, 2026. We've designed this retreat for you to unplug, detox, reconnect, and restore the mind, body, and soul. With a guided excursions and designated free time, you will head back home rested, connected, and redirected, giving you the energy you need to make the best of 2026. Click the link below. We can't wait to retreat with you. How do you navigate the vulnerabilities of creating and sharing work while also maintaining healthy boundaries and emotional wellness?
Usually always transparent. about anything, especially about my creativity. I am a writer. I tell people all the time, I am a writer. I am used to, because of what I've written, I've always written fiction. Um, but going into another space and moving towards more purposeful writing, I understand that vulnerability is important. And I create the boundary of, if you don't like it, then that just means you don't understand it. But it's also my experience. So we can try to navigate that together, so I can allow you the opportunity to understand it. But if not, just understand that it's my experience. And that's, I'm not doing or writing or speaking or presenting anything to intentionally hurt anyone. Although I have to make sure that my purpose is fulfilled, and putting forth the insight for anyone that may be able to relate. And that's even in fiction, because all, no matter what it is, make believe writing, fiction, all it is reality fiction. Because any book that you've read, fiction, that's a made up story, it's somebody's story. When you see Lifetime movies, that's somebody's story, period. And so I don't even know if I could say I'm vulnerable to some things, but not with my creativity. Not at all. I'm really not. I'm very strong in what I believe I can do, and my creative mind, and I don't allow anyone to limit me in what they believe I can do. So that I've created that boundary of, if you don't like it, it just means you don't understand it. And I can try to help you understand it, but if not, then, I'm sorry.
What has observing the full life cycle of plants taught you that you didn't expect?
Mostly that plants, their purpose is not to produce food for us. Their purpose is to produce seed in the earth. So the example as a cucumber, if you allow the cucumbers to stay on the plant, and if they grow to the point where they begin to turn yellow, and sometimes this can happen because there's a lot of leaves on a cucumber plant and the cucumbers can hide. If you allow it to turn yellow, chances are extremely high that that plant is done, because it has made seed. That yellow cucumber will continue to rot. All those seeds will drop to the soil, and I have made seed in the earth. All plants are here to continue the reproduction of that plant. As humans, we interrupt that process and we pick them. And then they continue to try to make seed, and we continue to pick them. And so that's what I've learned in watching the full life cycle of a.
Okay, that's very interesting, where you say they're not for food, they're for seed. So explain that just a little bit more.
We plant plants to feed us. The plant is trying to produce seed, to continue to produce seed in the earth. So once that seed hits soil, it gets covered up, and it can even overwinter. Like next winter, in my garden, all kinds of what gardeners call volunteers will pop up. I love volunteer plants. They're often more stronger than new plants that you put in the garden, because they've overwintered, they've grown from a plant that survived. Then the seed has dropped, whether that's marigold seeds or cucumbers or tomatoes that have fallen and died and rotted on your in the soil of your plant bed. Those seeds will germinate next year, and you'll see little tomato plants pop up. And that's what I mean, without giving, without personifying
plant. That's what I'm trying to say. It's trying to grow more for the future, more plants for the future. So once it hits that soil, sometimes it will overwinter. And next summer when I go out, it's very hard for me to pull a volunteer. I'll have volunteers everywhere where tomatoes or cucumber seeds have fallen, marigold seeds have fallen, and you'll have zinnia seeds, you'll have fresh, plants growing from them. How do you help clients embrace rest without guilt?
Whew. This is a hard one for women, especially for Black women. Black and brown women, it is so hard for us to embrace the concept that we don't always have to be going and doing and doing and doing. But what I lead with? I lead with stats. I lead with the reality of what happens when our body and brain is under all this pressure and all this stress and all the weight of it without rest, that it kills us. And it is killing us. The rate of high blood pressure, the rate of diabetes, the rate of stroke, the rate of heart attack amongst Black and brown communities is just astounding. And a lot of all of these conditions are stress related. So that's where I lead with. That's what I start with, because sometimes you got to hit people with what they're really dealing with first, and help them see that if we continue in this vein, it's going to take you out, sooner than it should.
And you talk about why is rest not just a luxury, but actually essential in trauma recovery.
Yes, I can talk to you about how when our bodies and our brain undergoes a lot of stress, it releases these stress hormones, and cortisol, adrenaline, and it's supposed to. It's doing its job because the brain is saying, okay, wait a minute. Something's going on and I got to keep you alive. So let me just pump you with these stress hormones because I need to keep you alive. But guess what? At some point in time when it just is on repeat, our brain gets stuck in what we, social work in the clinical field, we call, survival mode. And survival mode means you're just stuck in this place of always being on, to where your body is just, these stress hormones continue to course through your body. Rest is when our body is able to reabsorb some of those. So that way it's not creating a toxic kind of like environment inside of our body. And when we're not resting, when we don't do that rest, it can't do that. So it can actually lead to illness. It can lead to disease. So it's not just a luxury. It's actually life-saving.